Hey guys, we're up here at Century Lodge on Eagle Lake for this week's fishing report, but this report's going to feature lots of Michigan destinations. The Upper Peninsula, we've got Drummond Island for some perch fishing and a great report from Justin Bupp, our local contact there from Always an Adventure Guide Service. Curtis, Michigan in the Manistee Lakes recreation area for great pike and panfish mixed bag fishing. We drop down to Lake St Clair and talk with Eric Long about the awesome bite that's happening for smallmouth, walleye, and muskie on Lake St Clair. And we finish up for a great tips and tactics segment right here from Century Lodge on Eagle Lake. Stay tuned for this week's Hot Bites Fishing Report. The perch fishing here in the fall, the month of October in Drummond Island, has been and is going to continue to be awesome. The fish right now are moving from the main St. Mary's River basins into the back bays that surround the Drummond Island area. You're going to have Scotts Bay, Patagossining Bay, and Maxton Bay being the best bays right now. Now, they're also coming in on the inside of islands like Rutland. That's been a really good island as well to fish in the inside of. Now, where are you looking for these fish? You're going to probably look for anywhere from 20 feet up to 10 feet on the break edges. And you're also liable to start to see in the next couple weeks the fish press really tight to shore. I mean 3, 4, 5 feet of water. Now, the weed areas have been the best. For the last week or so, if you're hearing this report, it's been slowly transitioning from the 15 to 20 foot basin area, sliding up now into that 10 foot and less area. Perch pounders have been awesome. The reds, the yellows, the oranges have been the 3 best colors. Now, also make sure you've got a splash of all of them in, because you just don't know from day to day which one is the best. Now, the best presentation, a perch pounder, a couple of small perch minnows, lower it down to the bottom, tight line it to the bottom with maybe a 1 ounce to 3/4 ounce. Depends, of course, on how deep you're fishing. Deeper, more weight is necessary, but you want enough to be able to put a slight bend in your rod when you lift up on it. And then a great way to really draw a fish in and to get more bites is to slowly lift the sinker up an inch and just let it hit back down. That little poofing, that little silt cloud created by the sinker hitting on the bottom really tends to draw perch in. They're really curious. They look at it and then voila, they see your minnow. Be all in tune on those little slight soft pull bites. Those can be perch just mouthing your bait, and if you're quick to lift up on them, you'll get some tasty perch. So hey, if you're not doing anything super important and you're looking for an awesome place to fish, take the ferry over to Drummond Island, put in and fish the areas around those bays in the shallow waters here for the next few weeks to the end of October, even maybe the first month of November, but the first week in November. But to be honest with you, it's usually done by Halloween. So get out there and enjoy Drummond Island yet this fall. Another great area to fish that we've been keeping an eye on and knew was coming was the Manistee Lakes recreation area, the little town of Curtis, and Big Manistee and South Manistee Lakes. Guys, the lakes are going now. It's that time of season. It's fall. It's the month of October. The perch are biting well on Big Manistee Lake in and around the weed areas that are starting to slowly die. We're talking 7 to 10 feet of water. You'll also find scattered roaming groups of perch out in the basin areas between Helmer Bar and Anderson Bar. That's a much deeper area of the lake, maybe 15, 16, 17 feet of water. If you can find just isolated groups of fish, you can really clean up on them. Now, the South Manistee Lakes back to Big Manistee. The big pike are also biting good. Now, one of the best ways to catch these fish is by trolling the edges outside the weed beds with bigger sized shallow lip crankbaits. These pike are going to suspend in 8 to 12 foot of water, and they're going to be probably only halfway down. They're really starting to feed on the perch that are sliding up the breaks. And so if you can run natural pattern crankbaits, big ones like Husky DJ12s or Bandits, which is like a big walleye crankbait in custom colors, that's going to catch you some really big northerns. Try to keep your bait 6 or 7 feet below the surface so that you're nowhere near the bottom and the the pike has a chance to come up and club you. Now, over on South Manistee Lake, they're starting to do really good on a mixed bag of pike, walleye, and late season bluegills and perch. Now, the late season bluegills and perch are going to set up off that first break, and you're going to get them with a variety of live baits. Worms and minnows preferably are going to be your best bait. Again, 6 to 12 foot of water on that slide from the first break down to where the second break starts has been good. Same thing there. If you control for pike, try to do it over top of or right on the edges of the weeds. Big crankbaits, again, is going to work really well. So both lakes, both South and Big Manistee Lake, are starting to kick out very nice pike and a mixed bag of perch, bluegill, and some walleyes. So get up to the Manistee Lake Recreation Area in the little town of Curtis. They've got a great big fishing situation up there called It's a Little Bitty Town with a Big Fishing Problem. And the reason is 2 awesome lakes. Check it out. Another place that is on fire in the month of October is Lake St Clair. Now, Lake St Clair everybody already knows about, but a lot of people fail to realize that some of the best fishing of the year happens. We've talked to our charter captain friend, Captain Eric Long from Long Lines Charters, and hey, if you're looking for an awesome charter, give Eric a call. He does a great job. You'll catch lots of fish. Now, what's going on St. Clair right now? A mixed bag of walleye, muskie, and smallmouth. And I've heard the smallmouth have been just slamming. Lots of fish, and they're scattered all over the lake. And for me to verbally tell you where, what I'm going to tell you to do is pick up your phone, go to fishermansdigest.com, and these fishing reports individually are all there for you to read. Detailed reports of exactly where the locations of these fish are by species. It's an awesome resource for you. You should be checking it out. If you're seeing this verbal report, go and find it. Lake St. Clair. Eric's got a detailed report of how and where he's catching those bass, but I can tell you right now, slow dragging tubes is an awesome way to catch smallies on Lake St. Clair at this time. Also, much less known, but casting big swim baits, 4 or 5 inch swim baits on Lake St. Clair at this time of year is going to catch you some big smallmouth bass. Now, muskie, you're going to be trolling for them yet too, and Eric talks about that, as well as some walleye fishing. So check us out online, fishermansdigest.com. Go to our U.S. Destinations Fishing Report and pick out the St. Clair Lake, St. Clair River report, or pick out the Detroit area. That's going to give you the report. So read up on it. Thanks, Eric, for a great report. That's it from Lake St. Clair. We're talking here on site with Randy from Century Lodge here on Eagle Lake in Osbourne Bay. And Randy, we're talking muskie tactics for the month of October. And talk to me a little bit. We had awesome success here on this storm lure.
Absolutely. This time of year is a great time to come up and enjoy some of our trolling. We're known for our topwater casting, but this time of year it's a great time to use baits like this. Storm flat sticks, what we're working well for us today. This one's walleye pattern. We had some sun and shining right off the bait, and fish were really attracted to it. Also, we use bucktails like this. This is a hairpin spinner bait, and it's actually got a little bit of weight to it, so it gets down. You can see that right there. And black, orange, and chartreuse are killer this time of year.
And you actually caught that one casting rather than trolling.
That's right, yeah. So we cast points, neck down areas. Both areas tend to be pretty productive. And yeah, I got a nice fish right off a point today.
You know, when you come here and you're wanting to know where to go, one of the reasons you come to a place like Century Lodge is because Randy is going to spill the beans to you when you get here about exactly how to catch those fish. Now, obviously, Rand, they're going to be held on mid-lake, shallower mid-lake hump structures, like you mentioned already, long tapering points. bluff walls, neck down areas. Those are all
break
common.
lines, drop off areas.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're not fishing super deep water. You're fishing, you know, probably, you know, these only dive about 10 foot deep, and so you're fishing probably 25 foot or less for the most part, would you say?
Yeah, so you're trolling out in the open basin area, and then you come off up structure to 9, 10, 12 foot of water, and you're feeling those rocks, and boom, they hit. So
exactly.
really take pride in guests that come to our lodge, because right away you're going to sit down with myself or my dad. We've got an awesome map orientation, get you on fish right away, talk to you about current conditions,
exactly.
and get you right out there on fish.
Exactly. So that's one of the reasons you come to a place like Century Lodge, because they're going to inform you. And one of the cool things here at Century Lodge is that they're open a lot later. Most Canadian lodges are pretty much shutting down by the middle of September. When do you normally stay open for guests till?
So we're open into the middle part of October. We have some brave fishermen and some moose hunters. It's a great time of year because there's a lot of resident fish are here throughout the summer, but in the fall there's a net migration of fish and a push. Bait fish bulk up. Big muskies want to come and play, so it's a great time to come up and enjoy fall fishing with us.
Exactly. So there you have it, some muskie tactics here from Century Lodge on Eagle Lake. If you're looking for a really unique place to go, end of the season, you got to consider coming here. This may be some of the most exciting muskie fishing anywhere in the world. Check it out. Hey guys, thanks for joining us for this week's Hots Bites Fishing Report from here at Century Lodge on Eagle Lake. We had an awesome time on our trip. It's going to be one of our shows for next season in the 2020 airings, but keep an eye on this place. If you're looking for a great place to come in September and October and get addicted to muskies the way I got addicted this week, this is the place to fix that addiction right here on Eagle Lake. Hey, we'll see you next week.